Ladies and gentlemen, podcast listeners of all ages, are you bored with traditional and dull real estate content?
Yes!
Do you want to be entertained by the most successful, innovative, and forward-thinking industry professionals?
Yes!
Do you want to elevate your business, be challenged to take action, and raise the bar in your personal and business dojo?
Yeah!
Now welcome your ninja host, Jeff Pfitzer.
Okay, welcome back to episode number 3 of the Real Estate and Mortgage Content Ninja. Today, I am very excited to have a guest that I would also call a ninja. His name is Thom. He is a Facebook marketing strategist with Elevated Real Estate Marketing, and I am really excited to talk all things Facebook strategy with this gentleman because that is a super hot topic in our field right now. Travis, welcome to the show.
Jeff, thank you. I appreciate it and looking forward to all things Facebook and more that we can dive into.
Awesome. So tell our listeners what it is in a general sense that you do for a living. So when we say Facebook marketing, what does your company do to help your clients elevate, grow their business?
Great question. So I am a Facebook marketing strategist where basically I come up with strategies inside of Facebook marketing campaigns for the real estate industry. And we run a Facebook marketing agency that takes people's campaigns and we build them and manage them and scale them and generate hundreds or thousands of leads, whatever it might be. So in the agency, we're a team. We have a creative copywriter. We have a graphic design team that just creates Instagram and Facebook ad designs. And then we have myself as a strategist. We have our operation manager who oversees our ad managers, who are the people that are getting pretty deep into making sure that your campaign is running the way it should and connecting it to, let's say, your CRM and building up a retargeting funnel. So that's like our service that one of our main services, and we do it all over the world. So it's really fun for us. It's kind of addicting actually, because we get to see we're generating leads in Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and throughout the US, all for the real estate industry. So we get to see what ads work where and what's working now, what gets a high click-through rate, what's the best cost per lead, what's converting. So from there, we built a Facebook coaching and training program. And in that program, what's really fun for us is that we get to teach those strategies to basically all of our students, so agents that sign up or mortgage brokers or title companies that want to learn more. So as a strategist, we really come up with a lot of ideas about what's the best angle, come up with a campaign to generate, let's say, seller leads or buyer leads. And then we look at Facebook and go, what are the different tools that Facebook gives us that we can really leverage and utilize? So Facebook lead ads, right, where we generate leads inside of Facebook. If you haven't experienced the Facebook lead ad before, it's like a little mini landing page. You click on the ad, it flips around, it sucks out your social profile information, so your name, phone number, and email. And then you sign off and say, yes, I'm going to give you my information in exchange for, let's say, a list of foreclosures, or maybe for an ad that might say, see all the properties for sale with only 0 down, and we're targeting VA buyer, right? So there's all these different types of tools that we use: chatbots, messenger, canvas ads, collection ads. So that's just one part of the strategy. The other part is then creating the right ad targeting and making sure that you have a strong follow-up, making sure that it integrates with your CRM. So we have text messages and emails that go out. It's a fun industry, and we've learned a lot along the way. My past was I grew up in a real estate family. I started in real estate when I was 19 years old. So I spent over 15 years in it, and we built a lot of campaigns for our own brokerage. And then from there, really kind of expanded upon some of the marketing strategies.
So you just answered my next question. So you're also a mind reader. Go ahead and add that to your resume. I was going to back up and say, you just gave us a lot of information, and I want to dive into some of those topics specifically, but take me back. So you started in the real estate industry. You have 15 years in the real estate industry. What makes someone want to get into this field other than the obvious that, hey, this is where it's going? But I guess, one, how did you find yourself in this position? Number one. Number two, would you say that you had the foresight, and is that what drove you onto this side of the business?
Great question. So yeah, it is kind of one of those where it's like, watch this space, right? Because it's blowing up. Starting out, my first couple of years in real estate, I really struggled. I was 19. I had to get a suit and tie, just look professional enough so people would believe that I knew what I was talking about, which I had no clue I was talking about. And getting someone to trust you with their most precious asset, when everyone that you're talking to is in their 50s and 60s and you're basically still a kid, right? Trying to sell them this service. It took a lot of time and energy for me to really be able to find the right niche. And I tried all these different strategies and tactics that everyone in my office, who was, twice my age at the time, or a little bit more, said, go door knocking, call expireds, and go after renters. And I remember the first year I was in real estate, I door knocked over 2,000 homes. But there's this one particular 4th of July, or the day before 4th of July, I had got all these little American flags and postcards. I was in my suit, and I was committed to farming this neighborhood and putting postcards and the little American flags in everyone's mailbox. I started door knocking, and I passed 100 homes. I got a little tired of it, and I started putting them in the little mailbox. Not open mailbox, but just putting them in there. And it was getting almost towards dark. My feet were hurting because I was in dress shoes. I took my shoes off, so I was carrying my shoes and these little flags. And I finally get to it's like home 200 something. And I hear this gate open, and I can hear the claws of some animal scraping the concrete, chasing after me. And it was a Rottweiler.
Oh.
So some guy had opened up his gate and let this Rottweiler out. And so I was running as fast as I could with the, American flags and the postcards and my dress shoes. And I finally got, back to my car safe. Got to the office the next day, and there's 2 messages on the machine. And the receptionist at the time was gracious enough to play them out loud for everyone there for the sales meeting. One basically saying, please don't come to our neighborhood again and litter, with American flags. So I was still hopeful that there's a second one. The second one was, hey, just got your postcard with the American flag. Checking to see if your agent, Travis Thom, is okay, because I thought he was breaking into my house, so I let up my Rottweiler. And to me, that summed up my first several years in real estate was basically that. I had to find a better way, because some people are great at door knocking and calling expireds, and that's their knack, right? They love it, they get it, and it makes sense to them. So, during that time, the internet and the digital age of real estate was just starting to kind of blend and come together.
What year are we talking?
Yeah, so that was 2001, 2002.
Okay.
And that's when IDX websites, right, were, just starting to kind of be rolled out more and more, property searches and online, and people starting to do Google pay-per-click and landing pages. So it was still very new. And I got picked up about a couple of years later by a real estate developer. Because I had started to kind of build up, some inventory after I had just really busted my ass, and did all the traditional methods. And they said, we want something different. So at the time, I started to play with WordPress and different tools and different things. And so we built a website and we built a landing page. This was my chance to get 17 condo units and really go after this. I was, in my early 20s. So we started playing with driving traffic via email and Google AdWords, right? And pay-per-click and those things. And it worked. We would do this where we drove people to a landing page and we said, download the pricing sheet. And from there, it was it just clicked. It was one of those moments where it's and we actually got buyers and we sold the building out. We sold the building out. I think it was in 6 months. We had this incentive to sell it out faster because we were going to get higher commissions if we just sold it out faster. So
what market? What market are we talking?
So that was, you mean what year?
Where? No, where were you?
Where? Oh, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay, so that was in New Mexico. Yeah. So you're in New Mexico. Yeah. You still are in New Mexico, and that's where you were doing real estate.
That's what I was doing real estate. Exactly. That's what I was doing real estate. So that was, those are condos were around 220,000. We were selling them to students, basically parents of the students, because we created this marketing plan that was focused focused on kiddie condo loans. Do you remember the kiddie condo loans back in the day?
I do not, no.
So kiddie condo loans were an FHA-backed kind of mortgage where you could have your parent co-sign for you, and then you would receive, I believe it was like 3%, or I mean, it was like a sweetheart of a deal for parents basically to co-sign for their kids to get in, and their kids were like 18, 19, just going to college, right? Didn't have any credit. This is a great way for them to establish credit and get a home. So we went after a university and basically ran traffic to people that were at the university, that were a college student, right? Those kind of things, and parents of those people. And we had a guide. We had two different things. We had a landing page, download a pricing sheet. We had a guide that said like how to make those 4 years very, very profitable in college. And that guide was all about buying your first home and then the equity appreciation over the next 4 years when you sell that home, how much you were going to make when you sold it to be able to pay, off some of your college. We wrote it to really be focused just on that niche. And it was when like basically the conversion of psychology and psychographic profiles, it made a lot of sense to me that you need to have the right targeting, the right ad message, right, the right ad copy to be able to sell this product and have a theme around it.
That's
and
brilliant.
It was something that I learned because these developers were out of Chicago, and these developers were used to building these big, big projects.
Sure.
And so they, Albuquerque's market at the time didn't really have a lot of sophistication with internet marketing or some of those things. So
what year was this? What year was this? All this going down?
So this was 2004.
Wow.
About 2003, 2004. And they sent me to the seminar in Las Vegas with the Urban Land Institute. And there was, I forget his name, there was a guy there that had this seminar. There was only about 40 people in the room. And all the 40 people were condo townhouse developments. And they were selling like big developments, like $4 or $5 million kind of properties and these, high-end luxury developments across the world. And he went over these tactics and strategies using how to track people. I mean, basically all the stuff that you see today, like how to track people online and what did they click on your website, and kicking off an email based on what they clicked on. Stuff that's happening now, he was teaching us then.
So this is like the whole stalking thing. Like if I go shop for something on Amazon, all of a sudden it follows me everywhere I go. They were doing this in 2004? Are you kidding me?
He was way ahead of the game.
Wow.
Way ahead. And he was selling his software product he created, which was $100,000 software to buy and get it. So it was really, really expensive. It wasn't something like for the normal kind of like agent. So for me I was there just to learn, not necessarily to buy because I wasn't really that, in that arena just yet. But what he taught us was all these different things based on the VALS study out of Stanford that was done in the 70s that really broke down the psychographic demographic profile mix based on if you're a baby boomer or Gen Xer or millennial, they all digest media differently and they all buy and sell differently. So we shouldn't sell to them the same, right? And the information that in case studies he was showing us was people that were relocating, let's say, from Texas over to Portland. The website in Portland for this new development would dynamically change based on the person's geolocation. So it would know that this person is relocating. So all the content would shift and change. It was amazing stuff for that time. It was like way ahead of its time. And people still aren't utilizing it.
It's amazing stuff now. I'm trying to think back to 2004 and think, smartphones weren't around then. Were they? I mean, I think we were still using flip phones.
I have a terrible memory with time and those things, but it was still really new.
It had to be. I mean, I graduated college in 99 and I still remember having a pager in college. So you're talking you're fast forwarding just 5 years. I mean, this is, like I said, this information now, this content fascinates the hell out of me. I feel like just my primitive knowledge of it is more advanced than 90% of the population. So we're talking to a guy here, and you, Travis, that is light years ahead. And I bring that up because there's 2 points. Number one, you live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're not talking about LA, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Denver. I mean, we're talking about, I'm in St. Louis. We call ourselves a cow town. I mean, we're behind. And so you're doing this stuff in Albuquerque. So in other words, anybody could be doing this anywhere and it works.
Oh, yeah.
number one. Number two, the foresight that, okay, the guy that did this conference had foresight, but your knowledge, you learning about this in 2004, so you obviously have the foresight. If I'm a real estate agent or a mortgage professional or a title company, whatever, I want to hitch my wagon with you. I want to work with you because clearly you're probably already thinking about things that are going to happen in 5 or 10 years that I'm just now grasping that have been around now for over 14 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting what's old becomes new again sometimes too, right? So there's tried and true fashion, but still, fashion, right? I mean, taking postcard farming marketing and some of those things and applying it to the digital age. So there's things that still have a high impact from being traditional methods. And when I learned a lot of this information, after that conference, it kind of blew my mind that all of this existed. It was one of those where I fell in love with the science of psychology of marketing and persuasion and influence and all of it. So over the years, in my hometown, which really wasn't a technology focused kind of town, we blew past our competition pretty fast because of utilizing these different tools. We didn't have a lot of money either. We didn't have a big budget. So we learned a lot of the strategies and then had to hack our way through and try to implement them the best we could. Now, we didn't really utilize Facebook until, probably it was 2007 when the Facebook ad platform came out in 2006. So it was then when we started to really play around with the idea of what was possible. And it was still very basic then, right? It was still really like just brand new. We started to play around with different types of techniques, strategies as time went on. We made a lot of mistakes and a lot of kind of failures in terms of building campaigns, but that's how we learned. And we just kept trying and going at it because we would see some success out of it. And one of the biggest things for us is, I don't know the exact year. My wife might kill me for that because this is the year that I proposed to her. But this is kind of like a pivotal moment for me. We had created these single property websites in-house. My wife and I did WordPress development. She designed them, and I did some of the WordPress development on them. And so we built single property websites for each one of our clients. And then we were driving traffic to them. But there was a moment where I started to search for an engagement ring online because I was going to propose to my now wife. And I started looking online. I probably made 12 different websites looking at engagement rings. So I didn't have time to go anywhere, shop anywhere. So I was just online. And this is going on for a couple of weeks. But there was this one website that showed up again, an ad for them, showed up again and again and again. And over the course of a few months, the ad would change. It would be basically them talking about how their artisans make the rings, and showing a brief video of them, in the shop and designing them, where they got the diamonds, where they sourced it from, and draw, just like all these different ads changed and it kept following me. Over these 12 different websites I visited, only one had an ad retargeting campaign. It was bringing me back, and I bought the ring from that website. It's a pretty big investment. It's an emotional investment, right? It's one of those things that you can easily equate to a time in your life that is exciting and stressful and life-changing, almost similar to selling or buying a house. It's a big investment. It's emotional. It's something that you really got to put a lot of thought into. So I thought the moment, it was kind of like an aha moment. If I can buy online this ring that I'm investing a lot of money into, and I've looked at all these different websites, I wonder if, and this only one that's retargeting me, I can do the same thing with real estate. And so I started kind of going back through some of the things that we had done, and I've learned if we can drive traffic to any of our single property websites and then retarget them on the web or retarget them on Facebook with more information about our company or about the property and make appointments, then what would that do to our business? So we started testing it out first just on the web. We would basically, we found a way to retarget people. What do you mean on the web is like not Facebook, but just like if you're cruising websites and you see that ad for the pair of boots that you didn't buy and they just keep showing up, right? We started testing that out and we put our branding everywhere, and it worked. We got people that would click on the retargeting ads, come back, make an appointment, and see the home. And then we started hearing from people, oh, I see, this is the funny thing, is someone said to me in the thick of it when we were doing a lot of this, he said, I see your billboards everywhere. And I laughed. It's funny because we didn't have any billboards.
That's great.
Right? We didn't have any billboards, but they equated to seeing the ads so much, right? The retargeting, the branding, that it created this frequency illusion. Frequency illusion is that illusion where you start to shop for, let's say, a white Audi A4, and then all of a sudden you start to see the white Audi A4, in the parking lot and on the street, right? And then when you see a magazine ad for it, it's like more impactful, right? It kind of resonates a little bit deeper. It's hyper relevant. So
let me stop you right there real quick too. So as a real estate agent, and this primarily our target audience here, and I don't know about your market, but in my market, there's still a lot of real estate agents that literally do put up billboards. And I guess the purpose of it is you just want to be seen, you want to be known. Think about what he just said. All of a sudden, people are thinking you have a billboard and you didn't even have one because they're seeing you and you're becoming synonymous with what you do. That is really, really powerful.
Yeah, over time, it created this niche for me about condo and townhouse and new construction developments. That became what I was known for. I was like the condo, townhouse, new construction guy. And at the height of it, I had about 70% of the market share for all the condos and townhouses in our area. And we had a team of 30 people. We had over 271 listings. And a lot of it was because other developers would see how we would market all of these properties, and they would be retargeted again and again and again. And they would say, we want you guys to do the same thing for our development. So we would rinse and repeat the process and do it again. And we would actually come in with a listing presentation and we would say, we've done a psychographic demographic analysis of the market area. These are the people that your actual properties would resonate with. This is who they would not resonate with. This is who we should go after. And this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to use online, internet marketing, landing pages, right? All that kind of stuff. And no one else was doing that. So of course you would have then the next agent come in for an interview, and then say, well, we're going to put a banner up. We're going to put a sign out. We're going to run an ad in the newspaper. We're going to hold an open house every Sunday, and it's going to be in MLS. We didn't even mention any of that. We didn't do any real sign investment. It was just knowing where the consumers were. And because these developers were seeing all of our other ads, because they're kind of like, in the middle of our funnel being retargeted, they knew that we were going to be the answer, or we were the right people for that. So over time, we started to get more and more into Facebook, kind of deeper into Facebook ads. And we then sold off a good portion of the company. We had a property management company, had over 150 properties. And then we one day woke up and, my wife and I were talking about what's next on the horizon. And I said, I want to play at an international level. It's been fun at this local level, but from what I've learned and what we have and what I want to do, I want to be able to basically compete at an international level. So we made a plan on how to do this. We took our single property websites that we had created in-house, and then we created a company just around that. And we basically created a software as a service where it was automated. People would sign up and then they would get their sites. And that started to take off. And so I then started to do these blog posts and videos on how to drive traffic to the single property websites, right? Once you get it. And I would basically do videos on the different strategies that we had used at our brokerage and that we did for our developments, showing people how to leverage Facebook. And from that, then we had several clients come to us and say, hey, can you just run a Facebook campaign for me? I've got this new construction development. Can you guys, here's the budget we're working with. Or we had another agent that said, this is the campaign that we would like to run to get new seller leads. Can we hire you guys? So it built up into basically this kind of like auxiliary agency. And we started doing that and having success with it. And our clients were happy, and it would build up. And then more and more people said, hey, can you teach this to us as well? Because I loved sharing the ideas, because, being someone that was a past qualifying broker, I love to have our team meetings and share what we're doing, for this quarter. what kind of campaign are we running. This is how we're going to do it. And this is what you guys can do, how you can emulate it. So to kind of fast forward into it, that's how we got to where we are now.
So if you guys were doing so well, and this might be a really stupid question, but maybe somebody's thinking it. If you guys were kicking so much ass in real estate, doing what you're doing, why leave it to go sell it? It's kind of like,
right.
You always hear like these famous speakers and motivational people. They're always super successful in the field they were in. It's like, well, why'd you leave that? If you were
to leave it, right?
Yeah.
It's down my challenge. I was looking for, there was only so much to grow within our local market. And I wanted to get into more marketing and be able to really help people with better marketing, because that's what I fell in love with. I fell in love with more and more. I grew up in real estate. I loved real estate. We're 15 years in it. And we're still within, we're still kind of within the industry. But I wanted to scale and grow in a way that would allow us to really achieve our dreams. I mean, to kind of put it in a nutshell, what we used to do in a year is now kind of what we do in a month. So it allowed us to create different avenues of revenue that we could grow and scale faster. But I also, at the end of the day, I wanted to personally grow and professionally grow. And my love for marketing, I knew I couldn't take that any further. I had to say goodbye to something. So I had to cut off basically, my first love, which was real estate. So saying goodbye to that was hard. It was basically kind of, you're jumping off a ship into the dark waters and you're blind and you don't know what's going to happen next. And it was a big risk for us, right? We didn't know, what way it was going to go. And it took, several years, right, to get, this direction. But for the future and for what we wanted, we knew that, our local market wasn't going to be able to provide what we really wanted and for us to really be able to give back.
So your passion was this. So you brought up a good point too, where what you could get done in a year, you're now doing in a month, which is also, I would talk about what is happening, to put it a different way, that you need to be soaking up this content because things are evolving and changing so fast, whereas something would come into one of our businesses or our markets and it would last a year or two. Nowadays, it seems like everything comes in and it goes out even faster than it even came in, which is more reason why, number one, you have to be soaking up this content. This is why I'm doing this podcast. But number two, you need to be, again, aligning with people like yourself who clearly have the foresight to what's coming next. And it's more reason why you should be using guys like you. I mean, which leads me to my next question, which is if I'm a real estate agent or a mortgage professional and I say, okay, this is all very cool, this is all very advanced topics, how do I implement this in my business? Give me an example of how I can call you and say, okay, now what? What do I do?
Basically, how to implement us?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a few different ways to do it. If anyone wants to start learning just kind of on their own for free, TravisThom.com. So my last name is spelled THOM. So TravisThom.com is our blog website where we have a lot of information, a lot of different free trainings on everything from chatbots. We just actually posted one today about seller lead generation using messenger chatbots. And so there's some pretty in-depth videos just to get started. If you want something beyond free training videos, then and you want to learn how to do it yourself, then you can, on that website, there's a tab called services and there's our coaching or there's agency program. So you can kind of start there and read about them. If you want to join the coaching, there's a tab for it. You can dive deeper in with us. It's, for me, I get to, my biggest wins are when our clients, so when they're generating leads and they're saying, hey, I just got 2 in escrow from the leads we generated about 45 days ago. There's nothing better for me to hear than that, right? That's where we know that they're understanding exactly how the Facebook algorithm works, right? The ads that they're running, their targeting, the follow-up game, that's exactly where it should be. So it makes my heart warm. But I mean, that's like one of the biggest things that I get to hear each month is those wins. But we also love to hear and share some of the bottlenecks, right? And some of the things that may not be working, because we want to make sure that there's if you're always in an environment of everyone and you're not exactly there just yet, you can always feel like you're doing something terribly wrong or that you're being left behind. So we share our successes and our failures because we want to make sure everyone understands that there's a lot of process going through of trial and error. And it's not necessarily, that's not necessarily the word that kind of connects with this, but you are experimenting about what might work in your market and understanding what didn't happen or work well in Denver, maybe working really well, let's say in Portland or Vancouver. So sharing those ideas with each other and being able to have that type of environment where it's a safe place to share. The things that I love in our coaching group, our Facebook training and coaching group, is every Monday and every Thursday we have support calls. So we actually do a live screen share with about 5 to 7 different people that jump on. We'll go into their ad manager account in Facebook. We'll go through their campaign and we'll actually see exactly what they're doing, walk through their campaign and say, okay, this is where it's bottlenecking, or we troubleshoot, we help them read the data to understand exactly why the ad is not performing. It's generated, let's say, 500 leads, but it's started to kind of reach ad fatigue. So we got to read this data to understand, what's happening and what to do next. It's called optimization. So we start to optimize the ad and make sure that it's doing what it should be doing. Is the bidding correct? Is it the correct ad copy? Has the ad targeting? We walk people through the actual right way for a successful Facebook ad campaign. So it's one of my favorite things that we do inside of
and the coaching. So sort of recap, basically there's 2 options here. So if you want to work with Travis and you're a doer and you want to do this yourself, there is the coaching program. You can actually learn how to do this and you can be hands-on and do it. If you're the opposite and you're either too busy or you don't have the wherewithal or the desire or the time to put into this, they can also hire you to do this for them. So there are options here. Both of them are big, big wins in my opinion.
Yeah, it's something that we're passionate about. If you couldn't tell, it's something that we love doing, and we're getting more involved with Facebook. So I'm an advisor on the Facebook advisor group.
To Facebook, the Facebook, correct?
Right, to these, yeah. So we fly out to Facebook and have meetings with them and the real estate vertical and a few other people and talk about what's happening now and the different products that they're building and in different ways that we're utilizing it and that other people are utilizing it. So it's a unique time where Facebook is starting to really focus more on the real estate industry. So in the next 2 to 3 years, there's going to be a lot more different products and tools really built to actually help the real estate agent. And I think that's going to be a big opportunity. So if people can invest in their knowledge of learning the key fundamentals and foundations of what Facebook is now, before some of those new tools and things are put in front of them, they'll be ahead of the game, right? And so being one step ahead of your competition to really know exactly how to leverage Facebook, is a big thing. But Facebook is betting big on the real estate industry.
It's amazing. And let me reiterate that. Travis is such an expert in his field. I think I undersold you by calling you a ninja. I think you're way more advanced than that. You get invited to Facebook's headquarters because they want to pick your brain. That's absolutely amazing. And if I can't give you a better reason why you would want to work with you, I think that is a huge reason, in my opinion. That definitely sparked my ears when you and I first met. I was like, holy crap, that's kind of powerful. Let me ask you another question then. So obviously you're the expert. There's no question there. There's a lot of people, even in my market, that we're starting to see that say, oh yeah, I do Facebook ads, or here, let me do this for you. From what I'm understanding and from the feedback I've been getting from other professionals is that, well, they're just leads. They're just crap. This stuff is not very powerful. It's no better than Zillow, maybe even worse than a Zillow lead or a Realtor.com lead. I think what's important for people to understand here is don't necessarily give up on it. You might have just gone down the path of somebody who's more of an amateur. And if you really want to go down this road, which this is, no, it's not just the future, it's the now. You need to make sure you hitch your wagons to somebody like yourself who is the professional, who truly understands how to do this. Because you guys, like you said, not only have you had success with it, you have these groups that you're sharing what works and what doesn't work. And I think that's the most powerful thing is people create these Facebook ads trying to drive traffic. And from what I've been hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I've heard people say, I feel like I have to trick someone in order to get them to give me their information. And I'm assuming you don't have to engage in those slimy techniques in order to actually get leads.
And it definitely shouldn't feel that way, right? On both sides, consumer and of course the agent or person that's doing the lead generation. If your ad copy is on point, if the targeting is right and you're offering something of value, then there's no sliminess, right? It's trading value for value. You brought a good point of people trying to understand what the lead quality of it is. Is it the same quality as Zillow or Realtor.com, right? Whatever it might be. Let me just kind of go over a slight overview of how Facebook ad targeting works to some degree. So Facebook is an auctioning and bidding process. So when you put together your targeted audience, you are going into a blind auction. So it's an auction that you can't see other bidders, maybe these are other advertisers, and it could be you competing against, let's say, Coca-Cola, a roofing company, an insurance company. It could be Nike. It could be Whole Foods. And it could be maybe 5 other real estate agents in your area that are going after a very similar audience that you've created or an overlap of that audience. So in that blind auction, some people are bidding, let's say $30 a day for 100,000 people in that audience. Some people are bidding $10 a day. And some people are bidding maybe only $5 a day. Well, Facebook is going to find what they determine to be kind of the average suggested bid based on what everyone is bidding. And then from there, what Facebook will do is choose a few different winners in the ad auction. Now, it's not like you get a notification from Facebook that says like, hey, you lost the bid or you won. You get that from reading the data. So people are running campaigns, but they're losing the ad auction and they're generating leads, but they don't know that they lost the ad auction or that they're losing the ad auction. And so to kind of peel that back a little bit more, you have people that are bidding a tad bit higher than everyone else. And imagine that the ad audience, or the audience is like a pyramid, right? And at the top of the pyramid are the highest quality leads based on the ad targeting. And then you have the middle of the audience, which is pretty warm leads that are interested, that are planning on making a move or taking some sort of action based on the targeting that you've built. And then the bottom of the pyramid, which are the leads that are kind of like what we call like, the bad leads, right? Kind of the crappy leads. The people that are probably not the best prospects, but they're there. So Facebook's algorithm is known as BEAR, which is bidding, expected actions, and relevancy. So think about like this big, mean grizzly bear, right? So bidding, expected actions, and relevancy. So bidding is bidding in the ad auction. And we suggest you bid $10 a day per 100,000 people, give or take a little bit. So, we go in, we'll see some people's campaigns. They may be, they're saying, I'm not getting any great leads. The campaign's not doing well. These are people that typically are just joining us and we're going to do an audit review. And they're targeting, let's say, 1.2 million people, and they're spending, only $7 a day. Well, Facebook is saying, yeah, we'll go and take the money and we'll run the ad campaign, right? But it's not winning the ad auction, so it's only at the very basic level. And because of Facebook's machine learning, the algorithm, it's saying, the expected action is that you want people to fill out this Facebook lead ad. So we'll find more and more people that are going to do that action, just fill out the ad more and more and more. So the algorithm will work and find people in the audience that are actually going to fill out the lead ad form. So you get leads, but those leads are probably bad or not great leads because a good majority of them are at the bottom of the pyramid in the audience because you're not winning the ad auction. So you're placed in different parts of that pyramid. And sometimes if you bid higher, you're going to move up in that pyramid and win. So let's say take 100,000 people in the audience. We would bid anywhere from $10 to $20. We might bid $20 the first couple of days just to win the ad auction and rise up to those higher quality leads. And then Facebook will say, all right, we're going to do our thing. We're going to go into pacing mode and start to find the low-hanging fruit to trigger basically the algorithm to find people that will fill the form out. And then we're going to find more and more people that are very similar to that meet the ad targeting that you've created. So then that's where it really starts to work, and the algorithm starts to work in your favor. Now, here's the R part, right, of BEAR, right? Bidding, expected action, and relevancy. Relevancy is based on how relevant your ad is to the targeted audience. So it is a pretty big deal in terms of running an ad campaign. You get assigned a relevance score from 1 to 10. 10 being it's absolutely relevant, it's perfect, people love it. 1 being it's not relevant, nobody likes it. So what happens is the higher relevance score you have, better results you're going to have in your campaign, the better your campaign is going to run. Now, to get a high relevance score, your ad copy and your ad imagery really has to resonate with the targeted audience. So let's say we're running an ad, and the ad is running to, let's say, first-time home buyers. People that are interested in first-time home buyers that have not bought a house yet, that are currently renters, and they are interested in special financing programs. Right? Those are actual ad targeting interests. And we're going to target people that are 25 to, let's say, 40. Now, we would run an ad that might show, let's target married couples. So we would run an ad of a married couple, let's say on a swing set in a beautiful backyard, kind of future casting there, right? Some emotional pull to it. And it's some relevant imagery there, younger couple. And then in the ad copy, we would say, we've compiled a free list of all of the homes that are perfect for first-time home buyers. Some of these homes even qualify for special financing programs. Download the entire list of all the properties priced under $249,000. Get the list now. So that ad copy is hyper relevant to the actual targeting, right? To the targeted audience. And if we get a high click-through rate on that, then the higher the click-through rate we get, the more people that engage with it, then the higher the relevance score is going to be with it. Now, there's a little thing that you probably come across an ad that you don't like or you've seen it way too many times. And you click on the upper right-hand corner of the ad and you hide the ad, right? That creates what's called a negative impact score. That negative impact score is something that feeds directly into Facebook, and that takes your relevance score down a couple notches. So let's say you were at a 9, but you had maybe 6 different people that hid the ad. So now your relevance score from 9 down to a 6. So it starts to basically change the way your campaign will function. The lower your relevance score goes, the less amount of reach. So your campaign, basically Facebook is going to say, the user base is spoken, and Facebook values what their user base likes. Right? It needs to be an environment that they feel safe in, that they're going to spend a lot of time in. So if they speak about, hey, I don't want to see this ad, then they're going to make a decision. The machine learning, right, the artificial intelligence is going to make a decision to say, we're not going to push this ad out to any more people, or a very small amount of people, because it's not relevant to people. They don't want to see it. So your campaign starts to suffer because it's not being served out to people. So the impressions kind of go down. Your cost per click goes up. Your cost per lead goes up. Everything starts to get kind of haywire, and it reaches ad fatigue really fast, and the campaign stalls, and then it just has this slow, awful death, right? Nobody wants that. So when people are generating these campaigns, there's several different factors they need to keep in mind for a higher quality lead. And it's bidding, right? Making sure that you're having the proper bid for that audience. That your audience targeting is matching the brand, the message that you're delivering to and what you're offering them. And not just that, it should match the life stage too, right? So a lot of people, I think, that they go out and they'll run campaigns and they'll just kind of do this blast or whatever it might be, or they'll do a page post, right? And they'll boost the post.
Yep.
It's not necessarily laser targeting, right? Really going after prospects that, let's say, make $125,000 a year, that have a net worth of $250,000, that drive a Volvo, that own the home, they've lived in the home for 7+ years, and they've looked at Realtor.com and Zillow, and they live in this particular zip code, right? There's not a lot of people that actually take those. I mean, those are all audience interests. And so you need to be able to make sure the audience interests match the ad copy and the ad imagery. And that's going to give you a higher quality lead mixed with the proper bidding. So we spoke with a gentleman about I don't know, 4 weeks ago that was interviewing us to sign on with us as an agency client. And he was spending a ton of money on Realtor.com, $65,000 a month on Realtor.com.
Oh, cow.
Yeah, it's not a small budget. And he said, you know what, I'm taking all of my money from Realtor.com, all $65,000 a month, and I'm putting it into Facebook. Now, when someone spends that much money a month on lead generation and they're pulling it from one source and putting it all into Facebook, that's a key point indicator where Facebook is going, where the market is going, and where lead generation is going. If someone like that is actually taking that much money and saying, you know what, we're going to make a big bet on Facebook. And I asked him, why? What's going on with Realtor.com? Well, he said, it's not just that. It's Zillow, it's Realtor.com, $75 per lead, $120 per lead. And we got to talking more and more about it. And I said, through the data that we have from the campaigns, we've generated, over 50,000 leads as an agency. We know that there's quality within quantity. And if you can get a lower cost per lead and you can generate more of them and build them in your pipeline, and you do the right targeting, right? You really ride the algorithm and do it the right way, you can get the right prospects. So, he was going from $100 a lead then into Facebook basically being, $3 to $5 per lead. Now, the cost per lead doesn't necessarily make that it's a good lead or a bad lead. I mean, to some extent, it's just the opportunity to be able to have more and more people, right, in your pipeline. There's quality within quantity. Now, when we go into the idea that the leads are different, they're a little different from Google and Zillow and Realtor.com. But think of this, that what are the top 4 apps in the world, right? It's Facebook, it's Messenger, it's WhatsApp, and it's Instagram. Who owns all of those? Facebook. Now, go into how Facebook gathers all their data. They have over 600 different data points where they gather their data for targeting. And that comes from Facebook Messenger, listening to your conversations, keywords that you're writing in Facebook Messenger. So conversations with people, right? If you've ever said something about a certain product or whatever it might be, and you see an ad pop up for it, right, a couple of days later, it's not serendipitous.
That is crazy.
It's really good ad targeting. And then they browse through your emails, right? And they go through your browsing habits, right? What are you doing? Your geolocation, where you take your phone with you. So all of these things, Facebook can predict typically what my wife is going to buy 3 months from now. They know that she's shopping for a ring, for a nice ring that she wants to buy that she saw on Instagram. And she's visited the store online. She's followed them now on Instagram. She's looked at a few others of their competition. She's gone on Facebook. She's talked to a friend about it.
Sure.
Right? All of these things start to really kind of basically paint this picture with data from your actual behaviors and habits online, from the life stage that you're in. And not just that, it's the data from the marketing companies, but it's also the data from credit companies. So Experian, right? All these companies that have access to the things that we buy, the places that we shop, what we do. All of that data is aggregated and built into your profile, unique Facebook ID of what you're doing. And then you're lumped into a category, into a certain subcategory, within a subcategory, within a subcategory, in these interests, based on everything that you're doing. No other ad platform on earth can do that, right? Realtor.com doesn't do that. Zillow, Google, to some extent Google can. But the Facebook pixel that people have on their websites all over the world, and the Facebook pixel records the data in the pages that you're on. How long did they spend on this page, on the pricing page? Did they click on this button? Did they look at this dress? And did they look at this home, right? Did they go look at this school district? All that data is fed back. And then you have public records, data records, homeowners, right? All of this. It's this perfect prism, basically who you are and what you're going to do. So if you can use Facebook ad targeting right, you're predicting the future. You're predicting what these people are going to do in the next several months. So you're fishing upstream by using the right targeting and playing the long game. And that's why Facebook leads typically take a longer follow-up, but most real estate agents give up after like 3 or 4 follow-ups. And the follow-up game internationally, right? All of any kind of like follow-up with sales on average takes 12 times to really get like a conversion. With Facebook leads, it's still the same, right? It hasn't really changed. There's, Tristan that was on your podcast earlier.
Yep.
He posted, I think 2 days ago, a lead from Facebook that he had generated using, a Facebook lead ad, download a buyer home list, 381 days later, converted through a follow-up campaign and is now working with him 381 days later. Now, there's prospects that convert within the first couple of weeks, within the first couple of months, and then there's those that are very, very far out. It's a unique platform. And really, I encourage everyone to experiment with it and really push the boundaries and the ideas and thoughts and really see what you can do.
I mean, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. And I tell you what, we are going super long here, which is phenomenal because it tells you how powerful this content is. And we haven't even touched on Facebook bots, which tells me that we're going to have you on again. But you just brought up another good point is the follow-up, which has really nothing to do with this. That's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother guest.
Yeah.
But this is amazing how powerful this information is. And the amount of intelligence that you have about it is absolutely mind-blowing. And I mean, like I said, we could probably go on for a couple of hours here. And anybody who's stuck with this and who is fascinated by this, I would encourage them, obviously, to be careful. You want to get into this. We know this, right? But be careful who you're working with because you could blow a lot of money if you don't have the right expertise, which is why they need to get with people like you to either A, be coached, or B, to have you do it for them. So reiterate and tell us again how people can find you and how they can get in touch with you guys.
Certainly. So TravisTom.com is the best website. It's mainly our blog where we post a lot of our free trainings, and there's a tab there under services that you can go to our coaching or our agency products and see what we offer. I encourage everyone to really start with some of the free trainings and really get a solid idea of what Facebook is capable of. Test it on your own. And, and if you want to invest in your education and move forward with it, then we'd be thrilled to have you with us. Hopefully you guys can get some solid information and start off with something that you can just use as building blocks and go from there.
You heard just that. It's not if you want to invest in your education, you need to be. And this is, if you're listening to this, you're already doing a good job. This is what you need to do. You need to be soaking up as much content as humanly possible and then taking out the bits and pieces that you find the most effective and then executing on them. And you need to be following through. I mean, like Travis said, he's offering free training. Go to his website. What did you say? TravisTom.com?
Yes, TravisTom.com. And there's a lot of different strategies and ways to generate business. So we outline a few different ones there, but it's something that we encourage everyone to just, give it a shot and try, right? Do it on their own. They don't have to use us, but we want to make sure I want to make sure I'm on a mission to help agents succeed whether they use us or not. Because I was in the business, I understand that, I know how many shiny objects and things are thrown at me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I just wanted someone to give me the actual tools, just show me the actual steps. How do I do this? And so I want to be the person to fill that space. I don't want there to be any questions.
That's awesome. And let me clarify. It's Travis, Travis, Thom, THOM, yes. TravisTom.com. That is the place to be. Travis, this has been phenomenal. You now going to take the record. I've recorded 4 podcasts now, and all of them have been roughly 30 minutes. We're going on an hour. And I feel like we've barely even touched the tip of the iceberg on this content. This is awesome. I know I'm enthused by this and looking forward to spending more time with you and learning more. And hopefully some of our listeners will do the same thing. And now that I've got you on the air, I'd like to know that we could do this again, maybe in a couple of months. Yes. And let's touch on the next topics. This has been absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate your time.
I'd love to. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at the next mastermind, the next event where we're both at. And we will definitely stay in touch. And hopefully there's a lot of people out there that are going to follow through and seek you out. And I know I will be. And we're looking forward to learning more. Continue to listen in, subscribe to the Real Estate and Mortgage Content Ninja. That is where we're going to give you as much data and content as we possibly can to help you elevate your business. Travis, Thom, thank you again, and talk to you soon.
Jeff, thank you. Been a pleasure. Talk to you guys soon.
If you're looking to elevate your business, aligned with continual innovation and evolution, Jeff wants to talk to you. Go to PfitzerMortgageTeam.com and connect with him today.